Panavision used to hate us the way that we were doing things. Oh my God, it's red versus Airy, because people do better things than we do, a lot better than we do. This patent stuff is crazy with our red code.
For anyone who's watching this, Jared just dropped like a gem like it was nothing.
This guy, this thing, this.
Wait, you got to hold it really good so I can get a thumbnail.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. This is, my camera's backwards here. So,
love it.
But this is a nice, we make Panavision's DXL, of course. So that's kind of one of these unions that Panavision used to hate us when we started Red. Absolutely hated us because we were a little disruptive to the rental industry. And we were kind of cowboys about the whole thing. So we were kind of disruptive, in not a good way for a lot of people. And they just didn't like the way that we were doing things. And people thought that we would never work together. And, we ended up making their camera with them, of course. And then Airy was another one where, oh my God, it's red versus Airy. And people don't realize how well we work together. I have a lot of relationships with all of these companies. It's kind of like saying, directors versus directors. There's some directors that hate each other, of course. We hear about those. But a lot of them work together, even though they're technically competitors. It's the same thing as in our industry. In the camera industry, there's a lot of people, that are grumpy about things. And they're usually quite older for whatever reason. But I have a lot of great relations. So Canon mount, the RF mount, I chose that on the camera, back on the Komodo because it was just the best mount at that time. It wasn't a relationship thing. It wasn't, Canon asking us to do it or anything like that. It was because it was the best tool made by somebody else. And when you look at relationships like that, where you can actually benefit from being friendly with your competitors, because people do better things than we do, a lot better than we do. We do some things better than our competitors do. And this world is too small, and the economy is kind of wacky. You can't just do stuff yourself. It's not the smartest way to do business is just to isolate yourself and, put your fist up against everybody else that is your competitor. And I could say the same thing of filmmakers as well, working together and working with people that you don't think you'd work together, that is competing for many of the same jobs. You just benefit from it. It's really something that I embraced when we started allowing third parties on accessories. And that was a long time ago. That was DSMC 2 time when we tried to make everything ourselves. And I have a warehouse of stuff and accessories that are just junk. I mean, we didn't know what we were doing. We made a lot of really bad stuff. And that stuff is, you learn from that, and you learn, okay, maybe we don't need to do everything ourselves. And, we had a booth at NAB one year, and I blocked off half of our booth to who used to be our competitors, third-party accessory companies like Frame.io that was making, that was their first Frame.io, who, Adobe picked up, but with a huge acquisition. They had their first show in our booth at NAB during that time, where I was like, let's let third parties kind of come in and work with us and benefit our customers, because if we have to make 1,000 things, we're only going to be able to allocate 15 minutes of time to making a proper top plate. Whereas if there's a company that just makes top plates and they can spend 24 hours a day making it, you better believe they're probably going to do better than you. So why not just, work with them instead of trying to do it all yourself? So that was the biggest kind of thing. And you'll see that from us. You've seen that from us working with companies like Airy and Panavision, and even behind the scenes, like most, this patent stuff is crazy with our red code. We've licensed red code to almost every company that matters. There's not this big war. You gotta wait for the patent to expire. We've embraced this. We've created it was very expensive to create that technology, but we're not keeping it to ourselves. We work with every company, and it's kind of sharing that technology. And then we get a lot of things either from not camera companies that help us. This Mutiny company that makes accessories, they just came out of nowhere. Just two guys really in their garage making accessories. It's like literally, it is such a beautiful story. But they make things better than most big companies do. And I just look at these guys, I'm like, oh my God, why wouldn't we embrace these guys? And then, there's 100 other, two people in a garage making things. And you're like, wow, okay, let's just all be a community, work together, and everybody wins. We win. It costs us less in development, and we don't have to hire 5 million engineers to do everything. The community wins, and you as filmmakers win, because the products just get better and better and better.
Yeah, and I think we've definitely seen that upgrade as we moved from 2 to 3 with the KX or with the Komodo when it first came out, like accessories being partnered in, and like now, like some like a company that I would already buy their monitors, Small HD, you guys are now partnering with them to make the 7-inch touch monitor, which is like it now just works better. Because I was going to buy a Small HD monitor anyway, but now because it works directly, like natively with the camera, it just makes my system work easier. Angelbird cards, things like that. And I think for anyone who's watching this, Jared just dropped like a gem like it was nothing, because it was on the high level of, these big camera companies. But as filmmakers, like this is the exact same thing that we should be doing. Like we should be working together, finding local creators in your area, or even people who don't necessarily live in your area. I mean, like me and Justin, we talk probably like 3 or 4 times a week. And we're talking about like his business is weddings, my business is corporate, but like we're giving each other advice, we're helping each other, we're both making social content and giving each other advice on the social content. And so we're technically like competitors for attention, but like at the end of the day, we're both just trying to help people. So if we can help each other help more people, it just becomes a bigger domino that can kind of like tower down and just continue to help more people, which I think is a great nugget that Jared kind of gave from like the high level of like cameras. But I think anyone who's watching this can take that bit of information and apply it to really anything that you're doing, and I think that's really important.